Sonic games sure do go weird places, don't they? One time Sonic's platforming, the next he's racing, then he's bouncing around a labyrinth of sorts in a bulk form because his shoes are stone. Sonic has also had some of the most abysmal titles on consoles to date. So I figure I'd stick my hand to the spike trap, brave the hate of, "Why don't you like this game, it's my favorite," comments, and show which Sonic titles bring a tear to my eye. In a good way. I'm only making one rule on this list. No Sonic Generations. The game would kind of cheat its way onto this list as Sonic Generations consists of all previous Sonic games. Also something to keep in mind at the time of me making this list, I have not played the soon coming Sonic Boom game, nor have I played more than an hour of Sonic Lost World. With those pleasantries aside, let's get started. My top 5 Sonic games. Number 5. My number 5 pick is Sonic Adventure. This is Sonic's first major jump into the world of 3D gameplay, and a game most fans loved with all their heart. Nowadays, the rose-colored glasses have broken and folks understand that it wasn't all that good. I still enjoy it though. Just to glaze over it, Sonic actually feels fast-Tails' levels actually feel like you're keeping a friendly rivalry between Sonic and himself. Knuckles' levels feel like a desperate search to keep the balance of the world. This is the first time you play as Amy in the Sonic series, and has kind of an interesting mechanic where you're chased through levels by a robot, and makes you move faster with that fear of imminent death of sorts behind you at all times. Big's levels might be some of the most out-of-place portions in the Sonic game, and even then it's fun with his fishing games because outside of actually getting the fish on the hook, it's still a pretty fast-paced section. Gamma was one of the more somber stories in Sonic history, and it kind of lets you inside of Eggman's head and how he plans things. Now I have played both the original Dreamcast version and the DX version on the GameCube, so just telling you now that the DX version of the game didn't really add much to the game, but it still stayed true to what the original Sonic Adventure was through and through. I always come back to this game and remember back to when I was 12 and love the feeling of gameplay this particular title gives me. Memorable, intertwining stories that come together to tell us a story of an ancient god gone mad and how history repeats itself. But not the Chow games. No one likes raising Chow. Number 4. Now when you think of a Genesis Sonic title, you think Sonic 3 and or Knuckles, right? Well, stop. Just stop it. Bad. Bad gamer. No soup for you. The game I'm talking about is actually Sonic 3D Blast on the Genesis. Isometric platformers are usually a no-no, but Sonic made it kind of work. It's not super polished, but it does get the job done. The major reason I love this Sonic game is its music. Even when I was younger and never really liked music at all, not even video game music, I enjoyed the colorful tunes coming from my old CRT TV. A lot of folks will remember Diamond Dust Zone's music, but there are 2 other songs I can think of right now that come to mind. The Puppet Panic Zone, which actually is the song that plays during the introductory cutscene which tells you the story of the game, and my personal favorite, which is the Rusty Ruins Zone. I'm aware that there are multiple versions of Sonic 3D Blast, one on the Sega CD and on the PC, that have their own versions of songs in the game, but this is the one that stands out above it for me. General gameplay wise, it's pretty well made, but isometric platforming is still a pretty bad idea. Something else Sonic 3D Blast did that actually kind of paved the way and kept a tradition that other Sonic games have, of if you collect all of the Chaos Emeralds, you get access to the actual final boss of the game. So it's good that they kind of helped establish that, because that's now become a major staple in the Sonic series to date. Number 3. Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up your day? Don't you feel that sometimes you just need to run away? Well, that was a horrible singing segment now, wasn't it? Let's move on to the actual thoughts here. Entry number 3 on this list goes to Sonic R. Now Sonic R in most cultures has some of the most out-of-place music, glitchy textures, and the fact it came out on a not very successful console kinda murdered it to the public's eye. This could not be farther from the truth for me. The game doesn't have the biggest depth, but that's what kinda made it fun for me. The fact that you can 100% clear the game, unlock everything that it has, in about 30 minutes time was absolutely perfect for me and my young mind. It's kinda like a personal speedrun for me. I know I'm not the world record holder for speedrunning on it, but it's fun to boot it up and try speedrunning it every now and again. The kind of misconception with Sonic R is that it didn't really tell you how to play it or how it worked. Even in the instruction manual, it doesn't tell you much on controls for turning and sharp turning. All it really tells you is basic stats for each character, and then it tells you what their special ability is. Sonic can double jump, Tails can glide through the air for a short period of time, Knuckles can glide downwards like he does in Sonic, like in earlier Sonic titles, things of that sort. So even the manual for this game didn't quite explain well, but through general discovery of the game and not just writing off right away just as plain bad, you actually find out that you can turn quite well if you use L and R in conjunction with the control stick to turn. So it actually doesn't control that bad, but I think a lot of people will ignore the fact that it actually has decent controls and will still look at the fact that it's Sonic R and its music is awkward and it probably shouldn't have existed. But hey, number 3 on my list, and I love playing this game every now and again. Number 2. We're actually going back onto the Genesis for this entry. No, it's not Sonic 3. Sonic 3 is not on this list. We're actually going to go one step before that game with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The main reason Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is number 2 on this list over others in the series is it actually was my first jump into the Sonic series. And actually it was my first game that wasn't on a Nintendo console as well. Plus the game itself had a whole lot of firsts for the series that Sega hasn't really done with Sonic for a while, so it's that whole try new things out thing. Just for a short list of firsts, it's the first game that has Tails, it's the first game with Super Sonic, it's the first game with multiplayer, and it's the first game with a Sonic clone, Silver Sonic. Lots of firsts for the series all wrapped up in one package, and I never do get tired of it. Certainly I've gotten a lot worse at the game over the years, mainly because newer games in the series have made me soft and unable to play the more hardcore titles. But it is my first Sonic game, and not a whole lot will make me forget my love for it. Before I move on to my favorite Sonic title, we'll do a quick recap here, just so I can kind of point you guys in the direction of what you think I'm going to pick as my favorite Sonic title, see if you can guess it before it comes along. So, number 5 is Sonic Adventure. Number 4, Sonic 3D Blast, the Genesis version. Number 3, Sonic R. Number 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Number 1! Every video game series or franchise tends to have that black sheep that almost nobody likes, or very few people like, but for the people who do like it, they can speak volumes for the game. So for my number 1 spot, I put Sonic Unleashed as my favorite Sonic game. And I'm going to stop dancing on the subject and just punch it. Sonic Unleashed was actually the first in the Sonic series to use a combination of engines, Cryware and the Hedgehog engines, to make this game work. Plus it actually does feel like a lot of time went into making this game work than with other certain games in the next-gen Sonic series. I'm looking at you, Sonic 06. The game is split into 2 types of play, so I guess I'll split my opinion as to why I like it so much into 2 sections. Sonic's daytime sections are just golden works of art, and a lot of what is used here is now canon for every other Sonic game to use. You move around the world at blinding speeds using tactics from racing games to keep the speed going without stopping, momentum changes, drifting, and the infamous speed boost which was first introduced in Sonic Rush. They keep you moving at high velocity and don't let you stop, which is good in a Sonic game, seeing as what the Sonic games try to use to promote themselves is how fast you can move. Then come the nighttime segments, which is the black sheep part of this game and the reason a lot of people don't generally like the game. Via an awkward transformation that's explained by the story, and I'll try and let the story play it out for you if you haven't seen it yet. Sonic slows down, gets big, bulky, stretchy arms, and becomes more of a beat-em-up title. This is a welcome change in my book, but only because I'm a sucker for the beat-em-up genre. It's a pretty simple run-of-the-mill combat system that uses very simple button inputs to make the combat simple to the most novice of players. Your progress in this stage also helps you become stronger in combat with more moves, more power, more life, you name it. You can also move this experience to the daytime Sonic if you wish, but who wants that? More power! The kicker in this for me is actually the story, because it actually has a decent story. You travel around the world with a small creature named Chip, which you have helped give the name to him because when you find him from seemingly nowhere, he has a very bad case of amnesia and doesn't even know who he is and what he is. Later on, you find out that this small creature is actually the other half of the creature that just tore the planet a new one. And when it's his time to go, you know you'll never see him. Especially with how the game delivers the "remember me always" bit at the end that would make anyone tear up. You put all this into a ball, you actually get a Sonic game that most hardcore Sonic fans will go, "Oh, it's not as fast, I don't like it." But to the person who is open to new things in games, actually makes it really good. And I would like to also state that I'm saying this about the Xbox 360 version, which is also the PlayStation 3 version, I believe. So any statements or reservations I have about this game might not reflect wholly to the Wii and or PS2 versions of the game.
I see it, and now it's all within my reach. Possibility. I see it now. It's always been inside of me. And now I feel so free. And it's possibility.
I hope you have enjoyed this top 5 Sonic games list I put together for you. It should go without saying that, but if there's a Sonic game that I didn't mention that you like yourself, don't worry about it. This is the internet and everything is open to opinion. You are free to love any game from the series you do like. Now if you did enjoy the video, would you mind hitting that like button for me? It lets me know I did a good job and boosts everyone's ego several levels. Also, would you like to let me know what you would pick in the top 5 list of Sonic games? Well, do let me know. I always like to hear your opinion. Put a comment down below and you can just give me a quick 1 through 5, no explanation, or you can type a short essay if you feel the need. I always welcome opinions. Also, if you want to keep up the tabs on the work that I do, you hit the subscribe button. I do produce a video at least once a day, sometimes twice a day, and it's usually of the Let's Play variety, but every now and again I do put out top 5, top 10 videos like this, just to kind of mix up the formula of what I do. One final thing, if you do want to see footage or a playthrough of these games, I have done Let's Plays on every one of the games you've seen here today. So you can click some of the footage that you see around the screen here, and it will take you to the playlist associated with that game. I thank you so much for your time today, and you have a great rest of your day.